My name is Michelle Petrone-Fleming. I'm still getting used to saying that last name because me and Kevin just got married 2 weeks ago. It's my first time presenting at an Asterisk event, and I'm going to be talking about intellectual property, and I think that's interesting even though Mark is threatening to fall asleep. Everyone agree? Everyone agree that intellectual property is interesting? Thank you. Yay! Okay. Who can name the different types of intellectual property? Because a lot of times when I talk about it, they think it's this big, vast thing, but there's only 4 types. Does anybody know what they are? Okay. When you yeah.
Copyright, patent, trademark.
That's 3. There's one more. There's one more. If you have a secret in your company that gives you an advantage over someone else, what is that? That's right. If I had like cookies or something, I would give you a cookie. Okay, that's right. You know.
Yeah. Skylar can give you an analog interface part.
Thank you. that is the 4 types of intellectual property, and it relates to Asterisk because you do use intellectual property when you're using Asterisk. So I want to talk about the different ways that you use intellectual property, the risks you may face when you use them, and how we help you with those risks. Okay, the first one, what is a trademark? And you don't have to answer this because I have it on my PowerPoint. It is an indicator of the source or origin of goods. When we put the digium or the bubble logo next to our product, people know it's coming from us or an affiliated reseller or somebody with an agreement in place with us. Authorized use depends on the kind of product and the type of company that you are and how you're using it. When we talk about trademarks, we're talking about 2 different types. We're talking about the word mark, which is just the word digium, or the word asterisk. When we're talking about the second type, we're talking about the bubble logo or any kind of logo. Anyone can use the word mark as long as it's not in a confusing manner. People can only use the logo pursuant to a contract with us or on a case-by-case basis if we think it's helping the asterisk ecosystem. How does infringement occur? It occurs when you use it in a manner that confuses people as to the source or origin of the goods. For example, if you use a word mark, you can use it to describe the product that you're selling. For example, if you come up with a voicemail application for asterisk, you can use the word asterisk in voicemail for asterisk, but you can't combine the 2 into something that's confusing. For example, asterisk voicemail or something like that, or a GUI for asterisk. You can't say asterisk GUI, you have to use it descriptively. Google AdWords unauthorized list was part of our trademark policy, and I'm going to get into a little more detail on that later on. Let's see, I covered that, the 2 types of mark. All right, Digium's trademark policy and protection. What are the reasons for protecting a trademark? Well, so people don't get confused about the source or origin goods. The reasons we want to do that is so that when people see that bubble logo, they know that we vouch for that quality of goods. We don't want people using that logo and getting a poor quality, so that's the reason we do protect our marks. The different ways that you protect marks are through registration, enforcement, watching, and maintenance. And does everybody know how you register a trademark and what I'm talking about when I say that? Because I don't want to bore you to tears. Yes, everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say you're registering a trademark. Yes? Yes? Okay, cool. Thank you. The second way that we protect our mark is we subscribe to a watching service. And what this does is it alerts us if somebody's registered a trademark application for the word asterisk in a country where we may not have much business going on, so we haven't registered. And it'll alert us anytime that someone tries to register a mark that's confusingly similar to ours. One of the problems I've been having is that we put a watch service on the actual asterisk / what you see when you hit that 8 number key, and I'm getting a lot of false hits, so I'm thinking of taking that off the watch list. The third way that you protect your mark is through maintenance, and anytime you register a mark, you have to show proof that you haven't abandoned it. You need to keep a packet showing marketing materials and data materials to show that you're using that mark in commerce. The fourth way that we protect our mark is through trademark enforcement, and a lot of that is the community is pretty self-policing. I answer to the trademarks at Digium address, and I get a lot of emails saying so-and-so is using the asterisk mark in a domain name, and are they authorized? So people do report that. They're self-policing. They do contact those persons individually. We do that internally as well. Okay, what is a patent? It's a right granted by the government to produce, manufacture, or sell your invention or process for a limited period of time. We do offer indemnity. I should have gotten into this earlier. When do we offer indemnity for trademarks? We don't offer it when you're using it descriptively, when you're not using it under contract. We offer indemnity if you're using it under contract with us. Okay, when do we offer indemnity for patents? Hardware is pretty easy because we have a lot of control over the design. Software is a little bit trickier just because most of it is open source. We do not do defensive patenting. We only patent to encourage innovation. We're going to include, we already include in, I think, our partner agreement, an agreement that the person signing the contract with us won't enforce their patents to the extent that any kind of submission they make in the agreement, it must be the license agreement, to the extent that any submission they make, use of that submission infringes on one of their patents, or use of our products may infringe on their patents. So they agree not to assert that against us, and we're going to get that in all of our contracts. Okay, copyright is a right granted to an author to distribute or work, for example, code. We do not own the copyright to individual contributions to Asterisk. We own the copyright to the way it's organized and the submissions that we choose to include in that. And I read a really good description of that in a book recently, and how he put it was that if you think about a collection of short stories, we don't own the copyright to each short story, but we own the copyright to the works or the short stories we choose to include in Asterisk and the way that it's organized. Anyone that's contributing to the Asterisk project is required to sign a license agreement. It is not a waiver of your rights. It's just all the IP rights that you license to us, you're just giving us the right to use it commercially. You're not waiving your right to make derivatives of the work or redistribute it. And I did not hit the end of my presentation. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. We commercially license Asterisk through Asterisk Business Edition, the appliances, OEM agreements, partner add-ons, and the G729 codec. In our license agreement, we give the options to persons signing that license agreement to contribute back to the community through this, not the same submission process, but a similar submission process to the other members of the community. Okay, what does Digium consider to be a fork? You guys are the geeks. Who can tell me what a fork is?
It's not a spoon.
It's not a utensil that you eat with, if that's correct. Who can tell me what a fork is? Please?
It's a copy of the original that is developed as a separate product, so it splits like an evolution. At the beginning you have a single entity, and at the beginning you may have two relatives, but in effect it's two different products or different programs.
That's a better explanation than I could have come up with. That's why I asked you guys. Yeah, so that's what it is. In our agreements, we say it's a GPL or GPL compatible derivative of Asterisk. The GPL, as you guys know, you're experts, does not control forks. Digium tries to through our contracts. What the GPL talks about is derivative works, and the GPL, as you know, has a reciprocity condition where if you create a derivative work, you do have to give it back to the project. And on to the next one. And I think we got into that earlier. You do have rights to make those modifications as long as you contribute it back. And the reason that we can do our dual licensing is that we're the copyright holder and the maintainer of Asterisk, the project, and we're the only ones that can license it outside of the GPL, and that's where our commercial license agreement comes into play. The indemnity that we offer for different types of contracts depends on the type of contract, the type of product, and the business transaction at issue. And I think of it kind of like intellectual property is property insurance. If you're paying $75,000 worth of products for us, it's unlikely that you're going to get sued for $1 million. So we base it on the value of the contract, where you're doing business. We don't offer patent indemnity. For example, if you're a United States reseller, it doesn't make sense to offer it in Zimbabwe, for example. The United States has one of the most complicated patent systems in the world. So if you're covered here, you're pretty much covered anywhere. It's very, very hard to assess your risk of patent infringement in part based on the complexity of the patent system. It could be misfiled, or we could investigate up to the time of the contract, but people could file after the effective date. So we identify up to